Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. Beginning in international news, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu still in Washington, D.C. The first foreign leader to meet with President Donald Trump at the White House this term. The trip has already proven eventful. Trump saying he wants the U.S. to take over Gaza. Amy Kiley has more on Netanyahu's visit.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip.
A day after that shocking statement, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's U.S. trip continues. Today, he's scheduled to meet with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. President Donald Trump says he isn't ruling out sending U.S. troops to secure American ownership of Gaza.
We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development.
Netanyahu says he's discussing Trump's plan. He says his aim is to eradicate Hamas and make Gaza secure for Israel.
Your willingness to think outside the box with fresh ideas will help us achieve all these goals.
As far as the Israelis are concerned, and specifically Netanyahu and his right-wing coalition, they just won the lottery.
More than 1 million Palestinians call Gaza home, and many plan to stay. But Trump suggests they leave and go to neighboring countries.
It's a non-starter for the Egyptians. It's a non-starter for the Jordanians. It deals and undermines their own national security.
Saudi Arabia is reaffirming its commitment to a Palestinian state. It says it won't normalize relations with Israel without one.
I feel that the Trump administration is going to come up against tough realities in the Middle East.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Turning to the unicameral, where Governor Jim Pillen was among those who spoke to the Education Committee this week about a new bill aimed at banning cell phone use in schools, LB 140, introduced by Senator Rita Sanders at the governor's request. The goal, to cut down on distractions in the classroom and address mental health concerns related to constant phone use. Pillen highlighted two reasons for the bill. He says he wants to manage cell phone distractions and protect kids from the negative effects of excessive phone use. If the bill's approved, schools would need to create policies for phone use, allowing exceptions for emergencies and for educational purposes. Pillen also referenced findings from a book that noted young people get about 192 alerts daily. That's about one every 5 minutes. Sanders, meanwhile, emphasized the need for a distraction-free learning environment to help students and teachers succeed. The bill also supported by the state's Attorney General and Education Commissioner. Meanwhile, the Ag Committee set next week to hear a proposal seeking to protect the state's livestock. Legislation brought to the floor addressing concerns when it comes to the ability of other countries being able to spy on Nebraska's livestock herds and protect them from any security risks, whether it be by them getting sick or getting harmed in some other way. LB 665 says by adding protections to livestock, food sources can remain secure and producers won't see a negative effect from foreigners. But the Nebraska cattlemen came out against the bill. In a statement, the organization said they believe it would prohibit producers from using electronic identification tags in livestock if parts were made by another country. Well, up until now, the visitor center in Kearney occupied just 200 square feet. Wasn't much more than a collection of brochures. But Michael Shively shows us how a new facility might propel tourists into town.
Really to welcome people into the facility, we have a nice bright mural.
It starts with art and builds from there.
So people obviously know the cranes around here, but there's all sorts of different critters around.
It covers just about everything.
From parks and natural wonders around the area to our arts and culture, downtown Kearney, shopping.
The new Welcome Center in Kearney aims to be a launching point for visitors.
People can come here first, they can get the information, they can learn about Kearney if they like nature and cranes, or if they like shopping and downtown, sports and events. They can kind of get that information here, and then they can go out and explore.
Bobby Dickerson is the marketing coordinator for Visit Kearney. Her and her colleagues worked with a Chicago firm to add subtle touches, like cranes suspended in the air, and obvious staples, like a giant map of the area.
So people can really use it for wayfinding, but have some fun with it too. And already we've had some kids and they can't help themselves, and adults too. So you can hit the buttons and the corresponding location will light up.
It includes parts of the city's history, like actual brick pavers.
These were all from downtown Kearney streets. They were part of downtown Kearney at some point.
It leans into the city's big tourism pull as the sandhill crane capital of the world.
We're hoping they make this their first stop to learn about the migration, learn what else Kearney has to offer, so they really can get the most of their stay.
But uses its 2,000 square feet to showcase all the area's offerings.
So really, we're just able to show and highlight so much more of Kearney and of this area than just a few brochures would offer.
Launching visitors into a city full of sights. In Kearney, Michael Shively, News Channel, Nebraska.
More than 2 decades after Nebraska City closed its senior center, the idea for a new space for senior citizens is gaining traction. Dan Swanson has more.
Joseph Fleming, a retired construction superintendent, left Monday's city council meeting with the city administrator's business card and optimism about establishing a senior center in Nebraska City.
I really anticipated them telling me that, well, there's nothing we can do at this time. But that wasn't the case. I'm supposed to call a gentleman at City Hall and see what we can come up with from there.
Fleming said a senior center will encourage the elderly to get out more and be active.
It's imperative for our own juvenation to get out here and do something. I'm asking for their approval, their assistance, and their guidance. I'll do the work, just that I need a little bit of help.
When Nebraska City closed the Veterans Memorial Building in 2007, the World of the Aging was moved to a federal housing unit. Renovations of the Memorial Building were complete this year. From Nebraska City, I'm Dan Swanson, News Channel, Nebraska.
While the average family size in the United States has been shrinking for decades, the Amish population continues to grow, doubling about every 20 years. And in Nebraska, the Amish population has surged 65% over the last 4 years, according to research from Elizabethton College. Casey Wannenberg takes us to a growing Amish community in north central Nebraska.
Near the banks of the Niobrara River south of Kilgore, a growing Amish community is under construction.
We kind of like the West, so that's why we came back out here.
James Yoder doesn't want his picture shown because of his beliefs, but he agreed to share his story. He moved to this area a year and a half ago after living in Michigan and Indiana.
We tend to spread out into new areas, start new communities a lot.
So far, 9 families have settled here, but that number is expected to grow. Yoder anticipates the community will max out at 20 families.
And if that gets full, we're going to have to spread out in a new area and do that again. So that's probably what will happen.
While states like Pennsylvania and Ohio have traditionally been home to Amish communities, other states like Nebraska are seeing a big increase, up 65% in the past 4 years.
The West is getting more populated with Amish communities.
Yoder owns this company, Canyon Country Cabins. Others in the community own cabinetry shops and saw sharpening businesses. They have animals and work with modern equipment like tractors. But you'll also see plenty of horses and buggies.
There's some just general construction work, of course ranching, a lot of interest in ranching.
Beyond their businesses, the community continues to expand, building homes, a school, and a future for the next generation. Children here attend school until the 8th grade, in keeping with Amish tradition.
We're very community oriented.
A unique way of life growing steadily in the Nebraska Sandhills. South of Kilgore, Casey Wannenberg, News Channel, Nebraska.
And finally, it's called the Allstar Abilities Fest, an afternoon for people of all ages and their families to connect to resources, get education, and network with others. Hanky Hazelton has more.
Norfolk Buddy Baseball and the All Abilities Inc. put together a day where people can come and check out some of the services that are available to the special needs community.
Part of that day not only has unique services, but several fun activities as well.
We have Patty Preiner from Smile. She has a horse farm where people can go out and ride. And then we have the Enable group, which deals with finances for kids with special needs. Hands of the Heartland, they provide some respite care and vocational rehab, Voc Rehab. They're here in Norfolk, and they provide services, help with getting some employment.
We have a crafts table, we have face painting, and then we have this lovely bounce house. We also have just cornhole, ladder ball, and football, soccer.
After seeing the amount of children from different backgrounds participate and get along, there is a reason Rachel continues to do this without fail year after year.
As a parent of a special needs kid, the biggest thing for me is the no judgment. Being themselves, being able to be part of things that they can't normally be part of for whatever reason.
In Norfolk, Hanky Hazelton, News Channel, Nebraska.
And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com and click on the news tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. This is News Channel Nebraska.